Good morning, dear students. Today we will be continuing with the lesson Iswaran the Storyteller. So, Iswaran the Storyteller, already we have seen some of the nature of Iswaran, and as we have seen in the last class, in the online session also, it is a story told by a man called Mahendra. So, Mahendra is the storyteller, and in the story, the narrator is speaking about Iswaran. So Iswaran is a proper noun. So Iswaran narrates. Iswaran is himself is a story maker, storyteller. So this is what we have seen in the last online class. So I just made a summary of of what so far we have learned in the online class. I have made a small gist of the story. So just as I have said, Mahendra tells the story to one of his friends, Ganesh. Okay, Ganesh is the listener, and Mahendra is telling it to Ganesh. And who is coming? The main character in Mahendra story, Iswaran is the main character that he is coming. Okay, so Iswaran is described, his nature is described by Mahendra. Especially he is a man who is very much interested in, when he gets leisure time, free time, he is interested in reading, especially the thrillers. Okay, Tamil thrillers are his best entertainment. And he engaged in reading after he completes the cleaning work of the house in the afternoon. So this is how he is spending his day. Okay, so he takes care of preparing food and just clean the house of where they stay, and then he take a long bath, and then he read. And almost in every narration that he makes, there is what comes into this suspense is something that always comes into every narration that he makes. So Mahendra is just telling about an incident when he sees a fallen tree, how he narrates as a bushy beast crawling, and he think of moving away, and he wanted to move away. Okay, as he approaches, he finds what does he find? As he approaches, he finds it is a tree. So this is how he narrates. So, and in every narration that he makes, there is some kind of one or the other way suspense enters into it. And then he starts narrating on another incident when a rogue elephant entered into the school campus. So before that, I just once again I wanted to remind you of the difficult words that we have seen so far. Okay, so few words that we have come up. So these words you need to write in your textbook, which are the words that you have to remember. One is conjurer. Conjurer, that means the meaning of conjure up is a clever trick, okay, to bring something back. That is actually, especially when it is used in magic. Okay, especially used in magic. Okay. Then thrall. Thrall means control. Okay, that's another word that we have seen. Thrall is another word that we come across. And another word that we have seen so far is emulation. So it is imitation. Okay, copying, imitating something. Helter-skelter means in a hurry. Grunt. Grunt is actually the sound made by throat. So that is grunting sound. Okay. So these are the word. Okay. So these are the word. These are the things that we have we have seen so far. These are some of the new words that we have come across. So once again, I just read: conjure up, a clear trick; thrawn is control; emulation, imitation; helter-skelter, a single word, a compound word; in a hurry; and grunt, a sound made with the throat. So these are the words that we have seen. So we will just continue the story. So the elephant reached the outskirts of our town, breaking the fences down like matchsticks. He would continue. The story will be narrated by whom? By Iswaran. It came into the main road and smashed all the stalls selling fruits, mud pots, and clothes. People ran helter-skelter in panic. The elephant now entered a school ground. Okay, where children were playing, breaking through the brick wall. All the boys ran into the classrooms and shut the doors tight. So, in order to save themselves, they entered into the classroom and then the beast grunt and wandered about. So it is wandering about means just moving leisurely. That is wandering about. So it was moving very leisurely inside the school campus, especially the playing ground. Okay, so the beast grunt and wandered about, pulling out the football goalpost, the goalpost of the football playing ground, and then tearing down the volleyball net. So another thing that we usually find in a school ground is the volleyball net, and then kicking and flattening the drum kept for water. So usually a drum full of water will be there in the school campus. So that was kicked and broken by him, and then kept for water, and uprooting the shrubs. Okay, so the small plants that were kept around the campus, everything were removed, uprooted. Okay, taken away. Uproot means take with even from the root. Okay, take out even from the root. Okay, meanwhile, all the teachers had climbed up to the terrace of the school building. From there, they helplessly watched the depredation of the elephant. Okay, so without even act that caused damage to property, that is actually depredation. Okay, so depredation means act that is depredation. Okay, so something that we do that cause a lot of damage to the property. So that is depredation. Damage to the property. So no one is there to control the elephant, and the elephant is depredating, causing a lot of damage to the property that is there in the school campus. There was not a soul below on the ground. Okay, not even single person was there on the on the ground because children were inside the classroom, teachers were on the terrace. The streets were empty, as if the inhabitants of the entire town had suddenly disappeared. So see how he present the story, this narration. Okay, so that is the interesting part of it. He's with a lot of suspense. He is just making this presentation. This narration is made with a lot of suspense in it. Okay, so the one who listens to listens to him will naturally will feel some kind of fear in their minds. Okay, what is happening next? What is going to happen next? Okay, I was studying in the junior class at that time. So he just continues the story. He was in the junior class and was watching the whole drama from the rooftop. Okay, so he was also one of the viewer. He was there on the top of the rooftop and he was watching it from there. The whole drama means whatever things are going on there in the ground, the depredation of the elephant. So he was just watching it. I don't know what came out to me suddenly. I do not know what exactly. What I was possessed by some kind of strength. Okay, so that's what he tells. I don't know what happened. Came over to me. I grabbed a cane. Okay, from the hands of one of the teachers. Cane, usually it is a creeper, which is usually used for punishing children. Cane. Okay, so that is a yellowish small stick like. Okay, it's a another way, it is a small stick that is used for punishing the children, especially used by the teachers, either to used as a pointer or used as a as a material for punishing children. That is called as a cane. So he grabbed one of the canes from one of the teachers and ran down the stairs and into the open. So now he is there in the he just went into the ground where there is the elephant. So Iswaran also went down to the elephant. So elephant was there in the ground. Okay, so elephant was there and almost. So elephant was there in the ground and then what happened? So elephant was there on the ground and it was causing a lot of damage to the school property. Okay, so then we find this Swami who grabbed a stick from the cane from the hands of the teacher just came down. Okay. I stamped. The elephant grunted menacingly and swung a branch of a tree which it held in its trunk. Okay, so Iswaran also came down. How he has got a stick in one of his hands. Okay, the cane is there in one of his hands. So he came down. Okay, Iswaran also came down. So then what are the things? So you see the suspense. So it is a mad elephant and Iswaran is there in the ground. So okay, ran down the stairs and into the open and it held. So it just swung a branch of a tree which was in its trunk. Okay, trunk is the nose part of the elephant. So it just through the branch of a tree which it held in its trunk. It stamped its feet. What is meant by stamping? Stamping is very heavily beating on the ground. Okay, so it heavily bet on the ground. Okay, so heavily it just bet on the ground. So that is a natural reaction of the elephant when it is mad and when it sees someone in front of it. So it stamped its feet, kicking up a lot of mud and dust. Okay, so as a result, mud and dust came up, and then it looked frightening. Okay, so he was so courageous, and he has seen the elephant is now getting a kind of fear. So this is what the strange thing that is happening. See, something that is unnatural that is taking place. But I moved slowly towards it. So he gradually approached the elephant, very slowly he approached the elephant but I moved slowly towards it, stick in hand. Okay, so there was a stick in his hand, and he was approaching the elephant very slowly. People were watching the scene, hypnotized from nearby housetops. Okay, hypnotized means they were not knowing what they were exactly doing. Hypnotizing means under the control of someone else. Okay, so they just observed. They were not knowing what they were exactly doing. So people were watching the scene, hypnotized from nearby housetops. The elephant looked at me red-eyed. Red-eyed means actually exactly red-eye means angry. Okay, so red-eye means angry, getting angry. So that is red-eye. Sorry, I'll write it down. So red-eye means getting angry. So it looked. So people were hypnotized. So they did not know what they were exactly doing, and then the elephant became so angry, ready to rush towards me. So usually that's the mode of operation of elephant. So when they find something, some danger in front, they will charge. Okay, they will move ahead very fast. So the same thing is happening here too. People who were watching. The elephant looked at me red-eyed, ready to rush towards me. It lifted its trunk and trumpeted loudly. Okay, usually we see this. The trunk will be lifted up, and then it will be trumpeting. Okay, so it lifted up its trunk and trumpeted. Trumpeting is actually the sound made by the elephant. Okay, so it just make a warning threat. So it trumpeted. That is the sound. Trumpeting is exactly that is the same sound when we blaring a trumpet. Okay, when the instrument trumpet is also played, somewhat similar sound is coming. That's why it is called as trumpeting. So it lifted its trunk and trumpeted loudly. At that moment, I moved forward and mustering all my force. Okay, mustering means gathering. Okay, collecting. Okay, muster means muster, gather. So gathering means collecting together. So taking up together everything. Okay, that is in his hand. So gathering all his courage, all his strength. Okay, so what did he do? So he just gathered all his strength, and then so mustering all my force, taking all my energy together, walked its third toenail. Okay, so toes are there for the elephant. So if the elephant trunk is like this, somewhat like a pillar, and it has got its toes. Okay, so like this. So what did Iswaran do? Iswaran just walking means forcefully putting the cane or maybe a stick upon something. That is called as walking. Okay, walk, W. It's a very forcefully putting something on something else. That is called as walking. So he walked on its third toenail. Walking, just kicked very forcefully. He kicked with the stick on the third toenail. Okay, Iswaran just kicked on the third toenail, and then what happens? The beast looked stunned for a moment. Okay, stunned, surprised, it could not do anything. Okay, so it was stunned, surprised. Stunned means surprised, unable to move because of some surprise. Okay, that is stunned. Okay, the beast, the animal could not move any further. It was stunned. Then it shivered from head to foot and collapsed. See, the courageous act of Iswaran made the huge elephant to fall down. Okay, so he just walked, kicked very forcefully with the cane on the third toenail, and the elephant fell, collapsed. Collapsing means falling down. Okay, uncontrollably. That is collapsing. Okay, falling down uncontrollably. Okay, so see the narration of a story by Iswaran. One of his mode that is actually Mahendra wanted to give you. So the narration is made to one of his friends, and then Iswaran is coming the main major character in the narration of Mahendra, and then how he is narrating. So he tells, at this point, Iswaran would leave the story unfinished. So very usually what does he do? He just stops the story there. Okay, for some time, at least for some time, and the listener becomes so suspended in the air. Okay, so neither the what happened to the elephant further, or what happened to Iswaran, so nothing will be said. So he will stop the story for some time, and then what need to be done, and get up mumbling. Okay, mumbling means speaking unclearly something. I will be back after lighting the gas and warming up the dinner. So I will come back after some time. So he will just stop unended. The story will be unended, almost on the suspense. It will be the listener's audience will be put on suspense, and he will be going away. So telling that I will be back after lighting the gas and warming the. Mahendra, who had been listening to rapt attention, would be left hanging. Okay, so he will be suspended. What does it mean? Suspended mean here. So here hanging means suspended, means he doesn't know what to do next. Okay, he is on halfway listening. Okay, neither it is complete nor it is has come to an end, or something is incomplete is there. So something is needed to complete the story. So this is actually how he leave Narendra mostly. Okay, on a suspense he just leave Narendra. Okay, and he will go and do some work. When he returned, Iswaran would not pick up the thread. Okay, so Iswaran would not mind Mahendra when he comes back after warming up the dinner and lighting the lamp. He will not say anything. He will show very much disinterest towards continuing the story, or he will not pick up the thread, means he will not come up with the story. Okay, why he does it? So very interesting that is. When he returned, Iswaran would not pick up the thread of the story right away. Mahendra would have to remind him that the conclusion was pending. So it was the duty of Mahendra to see that the narration, you have not completed the narration, what you have narrated just before. So you have to make a conclusion for that. Okay. So Mahendra would have to remind means just ask him to remember. Okay. So making somebody to remember something, that is reminding. So reminders are there in our mobiles too. Okay, so making someone remember something, that is remind. So this is actually remind. Okay, so this is remind, making someone to remember something. So causing someone to remember. So that is so he has to. So Mahendra has to remind Iswaran of that he has left the story incomplete. Well, a veterinary doctor was summoned to revive the animal. So a veterinary doctor, a doctor who treats animals, had to be called for just bringing the elephant back into its normality. Revive means come back to life. Okay, means here it is not death, but coming back to consciousness. So revival of the animal. Iswaran would shrug casually. Shrugging means what? Raising the shoulder in such a way that it's just show that nothing. Okay, so it is nothing for him. 2 days later, it was led by its manhood to the jungle. So it was when it was taken back to the jungle for holding the log. Okay, so this is what happened. This is how he ends his story. So this is one of Iswaran's mode of narration. Just see how he narrates. Always he puts up some kind of suspense into it. So in this narration, the previous narration also, he just narrated it as a bushy beast, and he just put suspense into it. And when it comes to one of the narration that he had experienced, or something that is there in his imagination, whatever it may be, but he narrates in such a way that people just are hooked by it. Okay, they are just hooked. And what happens? He on halfway he just keep the story, and then he wanted the person who is listening, the listener, to remind him to continue with the story. So this is how, this is mode of his mode of operation, operandi means the mode of narration, so that he usually made. Then naturally questions will be there. Well, how did you manage to do it, Ishwaran? So that's the question. How did you do that? How did you bring down the beast? So what technique you have used there? So that is Mahendra's question. So then he's very casually he tells, it has something to do with Japanese art, I think, sir. Karate or jujitsu. Okay, it is called. Okay, jujitsu we know. It is a Japanese martial art. Okay, jujitsu is actually Japanese, something like karate. Karate we are very familiar with. So kung fu, all you know, these are martial arts. Okay, so it is jiu-jitsu is actually a martial art. So it is a martial art. Of Japan. Okay, martial art means something like karate or kung fu, etc. Okay, so karate and kung fu, I think that is Chinese origin. So here it is, jiu-jitsu is actually, so it has weak has got weak people who are weak. Okay, physically, who are not physically good. Okay, physically small, weak people. Okay, people who are physically weak has an advantage. When small people can have got upper hand over the strong people. So this is actually the advantage of jiu-jitsu. So it is, he tells that it is something like karate or jiu-jitsu. It is a Japanese art. I had read about it somewhere. It temporarily paralyzes the nervous system. You see, okay, I have read it somewhere. And when we beat on the third toe of an elephant, it paralyzes the nervous system, and everything will be collapsed. The elephant will be, the animal will be collapsed, and this is how this particular martial art works. So he gives an explanation for that. Okay. So with that, I just conclude today's session. I hope that there are no doubts regarding it. If you have any doubt, you can contact me over the over phone. The number is there with you, and from today onwards I will be engaging both A section and section B. Okay, and you just try to learn the things that are given to you. With that, I just conclude today's session. Thank you very much.